Good evening, all. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce today's guest speaker on Blocktical. And let me tell you about him. He was into a field of marketing since long, worked at senior positions at various companies, co-founded digital media creative agency 230 Interactive. But he's not only into marketing, he is very active into blockchain. He is a blockchain and cryptocurrency strategist. He is a CEO of Bitazza Lanka, which is a digital asset management platform. He is Chief Innovation Officer at Bridge Advisory and Consulting. He is the Director and CIO at FlexID Technologies, which is into decentralized digital identity. And he is also advisor at MetaBank Defi, which is into metaverse space. He also launched his website bitcoin.lk to educate on cryptocurrencies and in gaining profit from it. So let's welcome, have a big applause to introduce him for today's session, Mr. Sanjay Mendis. Good
Thank
evening,
you,
Sanjay.
Shar. Good evening. Thank you, Sharvi, for that intro.
Yeah, I always read your post on LinkedIn regarding cryptocurrency and blockchain, and I always get enthusiasm by reading all these posts. So you're one of the influencers to me
Thank you.
in space of blockchain. So I just want to know what has brought you to the world of cryptocurrency and blockchain, because you were in the field of marketing, and how this journey happened.
Yeah, so I've been in the field of tech for from the time the internet started. Right, it's quite a long time. I was in marketing, and then I was head of marketing for one of the first ISPs, as we call it, when internet was going on dial-up. Right, there were no credit cards. There were only Yahoo and AOL. So that's when I started my journey, which is technically Web one. And after that, after about 10 years, I co-founded a digital agency, which was when websites became quite popular. And then, as you know, Web 2 came, Facebook and YouTube, all of that. Uh, then I was actually consulting brick and mortar companies to go into the digital world, right? So mainly into e-commerce and all of that kind of stuff. So with that, when COVID came, right, I really uh, moved into. I wanted to reinvent myself, right? As you know, every industry was getting reshuffled, and because of that, I was always passionate about blockchain. It was something which was always on my mind, but I think COVID really pushed me to get into blockchain, right? Because of that, I really dove deep into the blockchain industry, and then it was very difficult for me to find information, right? How to invest in crypto, how to buy your first crypto, all of that. I realized that's when other people also must be having the same problem. So then I started my blog, bitcoins.lk, which was just for, to help others. So when people ask, okay, how do you invest in Bitcoin? I tell them, go to bitcoins.lk. And then that took a life of its own, right? I started interviewing people. NFTs came, so people wanted to know how to get into NFTs, what wallets are. So that was the journey, right? And now it has come to a point. uh, I advise a lot of companies in transformation into blockchain, and also people and companies into cryptocurrencies as well. So that's in a nutshell what happened to me over the past 4 years.
Really an amazing journey from Web 1 to Web 3.
Yeah.
Quite an interesting journey, I would say. Yeah, so because in my generation, I started from, I think, Web 2 mostly.
Yeah.
Web 1 was like we were, I mean, that was my childhood maybe.
Yeah.
So nice to see this journey yours. And now the today's topic will be revolving around evolution of currency and its implications.
Yeah.
So money is there since almost 4,000 years, and it has come, I think, has a long circle, a full circle from barter system to Bitcoin, which is a peer-to-peer payment. So, what do you? Will you please throw a light on evolution of currency, and what do you think? What will be the way forward?
So I actually feel it's moving back a full circle, right? If you look at it, initially, if you look at Bata, what was it? It was for you to buy something, right? Let's say
Right.
you owned a goat, right? Somebody else wanted you wanted to buy some rice, so you would give maybe the goat and buy rice from the person who wants this, right? So then after that, it became you started hedging stuff, right? They came up with different things which you can say, okay, you don't, everybody doesn't need a goat, right? So if you had so much, you could keep a different currency to trade in, and that evolved, right? If you look at the evolution, I think the best one we can look at is what happened in the US, right? In 1933, when President Roosevelt introduced the gold standard, right? He said, okay, for the
Right.
US dollar, you can get gold, right? And for the gold, you can get US dollars, which actually was a barter system because your currency was backed by a physical asset, right? Now, that actually grew the gold reserves in the US by 60%, right? And since that time, which was 1933 to about 1971, right, the gold to US dollar was $35 per ounce. So for that long, money did not have inflation, right? What happened? President Nixon in 71 removed the gold standard because he wanted to control inflation, right? It was a it was a good thing to do at that present moment, which brought us into this problem we see now, right? Because what it did was then the Federal Reserves or the central banks, as you call it, got the ability to print money without backing of an asset, right? So if you look at that, that is where the US dollar actually since 1971 has devalued by 90%, right?
Right.
So it's decisions like this which was the cause of money not to become trusting, right? And you see the evolvement of that going back for it to be a trustless solution. If you look
Right.
at Sri Lanka, you know what's happening here, right? 1975, we went into an open economy from a closed economy. Because of that, we were importing more than what we were exporting. Our foreign currency reserves depleted. Now we are in a financial crisis, right? India, the same, right? If you look at,
Right.
I think you're about double our value. We are 3 rupees or 4 rupees per Indian rupee Sri Lankan, right? So again, the devaluation happened because central banks started printing money, right? So this is where it all went wrong. And if you look at the
Right.
currencies, right? If you, I'll actually share a quick slide with you, right? In to showcase this because this is pretty important to understand the whole evolvement of evolution of currency is this, right? In if you look at this chart, right? In
Right.
right, if you look at this, you can see what the global reserve currencies were. They had a lifespan of roughly 100 years, right? And
Right.
now the US dollar is also hitting that time. Why was this? The reason behind this is all these nations has the strongest naval forces during that time. Why the
Hmm.
advantage? When you have the strongest naval forces, you control the shipping lines, right? And now you can see why its US dollar is threatened, because India is a strong economy, China is a strong economy, Russia is a strong economy. Recently, you know that India bought oil from Russia using INR, not US dollars, right? So
Right.
due to the you can see the US dollar becoming threatened with time, because they printed a lot of money during COVID, trillions and trillions, right, which went into hyper.
Right.
So that's a little bit about why I feel is going back full circle, right, where we are going again
Right.
to a trustless system.
Right, right. And I think that's why after 2008 financial crisis, Satoshi Nakamoto wrote a white paper on Bitcoin, and which is like a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. And
Yes.
and why do you think, due to this, maybe the reason you have explained, the idea caught attention globally? And since then, over last 14 years, first the cryptocurrency Bitcoin and then the underlying technology blockchain became so much popular. Though it is evolving and there are more use cases to come and it will become a mainstream line. But do you think this technology will substitute the banks in future, or both
Yeah.
blockchain and banks will?
So again, a lot of people look at crypto as a money making instrument, right? But that is not what Satoshi did, right? Satoshi's whole thing,
Right,
Bitcoin, was not the the product of Bitcoin wasn't what he sorted out, because what he sorted out was the Byzantine general's problem, as you call it, right? That is decentralized
right,
solution, right? Which was a trustless system. What is trustless? I don't need to know who you are for me to send a peer to peer transfer, right? Because it's the network. So, what what is it that changed, right? For a currency to work, it has to be verifiable, it has to be counterfeit resistant, and it has to be trustless if it has to be decentralized, right? Now, they did not have a solution for this, and that is why banks were the trust party, right? Which basically, if I want to send money to you, I contact my bank contacts your bank, right? And then the funds go and it comes to you, right? Which is what the bank keeps a margin for, right? And due to that reason, right, there is a huge amount of unbanked population in the world, right? So if I go back to my slide, right, if you look at the unbanked population in the world, it is, let me just jump into this, right? It is nearly 1 billion plus people who are unbanked. Why? Because it's not profitable for banks to get into this space unless they have a huge mass. So when
right,
people are looking at crypto and blockchain technology, right? Why is it threatening banks? Because it is going to bring in a large amount of unbanked people in the world, right? Who can deal because of cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology, right? So, yes, in the short term, banks and cryptos, I feel, will survive together, right? Banks will also, and the central banks will try to stifle it because they are getting threatened. It's like what happened to Nokia, right? A simple decision where they didn't shift to Android, right, made Samsung the largest mobile phone manufacturer, taking Nokia out of the market, and now they're suddenly coming back again with Android systems. So it is evolution of tech, right, which is happening to the banking system as well. And the reason is this, because what you have to realize is uh, digital currencies were always on the cards. DigiCash, which was founded in 1989, video games, right, founded their own coins where you could trade in the 2000s. Uh, Liberty Reserve, which was another digital currency which got uh, banned because of trust issues, because most of those were used to launder money, right? So there was no proper authorities managing it. Whereas in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, because of regulation coming in with proper cryptocurrency exchanges and all of that, you can actually trace most of these wallets, right? Because all exchanges do KYC on customers and all of that. So there is some sort of reform which is coming, which also have grown this industry in a very, very short time to over $1 trillion, right? It's $1.3 trillion. So it is a monster that who now cannot be controlled, right, by regulation. And that you see happening all over the world, right? They're trying to regulate it. It's like trying to regulate the internet, right? You just can't regulate the internet.
Right.
Yeah. So that's where I feel the
Right.
change is happening.
This brings me to my next question.
Yeah.
Many leaders in the world, including PM Modi, has emphasized there should be a synchronized global action with respect to regulation of cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
But there are certain challenges. And what do you think? What are those challenges in bringing such global regulation with respect to cryptos?
Yeah. So again, I have to. I think I showed this slide jumped uh, ahead of the pack, right? You have to understand what basically is happening in the global front when it comes to crypto, right? If you look at this, right, I let me just share this slide with you, right?
Yes.
Up to the time of crypto, right, the fastest
Right.
growing technology in human history was the internet, right? It grew at
Right.
63% from 1990 to 2000. Unprecedented growth, right? When
Right.
I started my journey on internet, like, companies were even scared to network their computers, right? Because networks were getting hacked, companies were getting hacked. There were even now, right? Recently, I think about one and
Yeah.
a half years ago, Facebook got hacked, and half of Asia lost Facebook for a couple of for a day, right? So you
Yes.
can't say technology by itself has always been great, right? Now compare this to cryptocurrency, right? Crypto is growing at a pace of 113%, which is double the speed of the internet, right? When
Right.
I first did this presentation, this was beginning of last year actually, we had 221 million users. Now we have over 300 million users. If you extrapolate that, by 2024, there will be 1 billion people using crypto. So if you think you're late for
Yes.
crypto, you're sadly mistaken. Get into it now. It's not too late, right? Because the thing is,
Right.
it is growing at such a pace, and only 300 million is just close to about 4 to 5% of the global population who's in crypto, right? Now, look
Right.
at the other fact, right? When India
Right.
came out and said about the regulation of cryptocurrency, what happened, right? Before India, it was Vietnam, which was the number one user of crypto, right? Followed by
Right.
the US.
Right. Right.
Now, India is the number one with 100 million users of cryptocurrency. right? 100 million.
Right.
The closest competitor is the United States with 27 million, right?
Right.
Now you can see the parity there, and the third country is again a developing nation, right? So what is happening is for governments to get together and try to legislate this is going to be a very difficult thing, right? They tried to stop Binance. How they stopped us, people couldn't send money to Binance via their banking channels. Recently I think India blocked Coinbase, right? So that you couldn't send
Yeah,
money via
basically UPI.
yeah, right.
Yeah,
They
they
stopped it.
yeah, NPCI told that you can't send, you can't use UPI for that,
Yeah,
and
right.
if you're using, then we are not aware of it.
Yeah. So what's happening is now uh, what's happening? P2P trading is going on, right? So P2P trading is where you transfer me your crypto and I send it to your local bank account, right? And there is nothing
Right.
governments can do. So I think what they should look at is it is not to restrict. They couldn't restrict Airbnb. They couldn't restrict Agoda. They couldn't restrict Uber, right? So it is quite clear the sharing economy is happening. And to this day, what happened with crypto is that Web 2.0 or even Web 1 did not have its own digital currency, right? It had fiat currency which was being used by credit cards and online payment gateways, right? It didn't have a native currency which is also thousand times secure than actual currency, right? So this is why it's breaking all the barriers, right? I can send through Twitter now Bitcoin to a friend, right? Using Stripe, and there is no stopping that. So this is where the world is changing. So to regulate that, as they all say, the monster is now out of the bag. You should have regulated in 2007. Now it has grown like 100 million users, $5 billion worth of crypto in India, right? How can you stop that? It's very difficult.
Yeah, I mean it's a big question how to regulate it. I mean for all countries.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they don't know
So
how to regulate.
do you think? Yeah, because it's spread everywhere. Nodes are everywhere. They are not like in your own country only. They are spread around the world. The whole ecosystem is spread around the world. So you cannot control only in your country.
Yeah.
So it is difficult to regulate. So the mostly when we talk about cryptocurrency and blockchain, most of the people mistaken both as same only. They think cryptocurrency is blockchain and vice versa. So, do you think because of cryptocurrency trading, because many are crypto trading users, so it is a hype, or the technology needs to be more evolved to prove the use cases of cryptos, blockchain, so that there will be more conducive environment for crypto and blockchain?
Again, it's global adoption, right? Look at gold.
Right,
Initially, there if you read the book, the Bitcoin Standard, there's a case study about this lady in the early 1800s who wanted to travel the
okay,
world with gold, right?
right,
Gold wasn't accepted in most countries, right?
okay,
So it is the same thing, right? It is going to be the same thing. It is not something which is going to change immediately, but as I showed you the numbers, it is
right,
moving very fast, right? And as I said, it is not going to be the developed economies because 50% of the crypto is in Asia,
right,
right? It's
right,
not in the West. Wall Street, all
right.
of these guys caught on to crypto 3 years ago. That is why they are trying to
Yeah,
manipulate markets, crash markets, bring Bitcoin down, so that the people who are holding it will sell. Right? Look what happened to Luna. From $100, it went to 0.00014. Right?
right.
It was a bad trade. But what has happened? uh, today, when I check the chart, Luna has gone up by 53%. Why is it growing? Because there are other forces behind it which is supporting this Luna protocol. They're trying to solve this problem which happened to Luna, right? So
Right.
it is
Right.
very difficult. You can't kill it, right? A Bitcoin will be a
Right.
Bitcoin. Yes, it will have its ups and downs. People say, okay,
Right.
they ask me, okay, Bitcoin crashed. Bitcoin did not crash now. It is at $30,000. Beginning of last
Yeah.
year, it was 10,000. So how can you say it's a
Right.
crash? Right? So
Right.
it's getting
Right.
global adoption, whether we like it or not, Shavarvi. So that's my thing. But it will take time. As I said, 2024, if there are 1 billion people using crypto, right, you will
Right.
have more adoption.
Right. So our discussion will come to this last question.
Yeah.
Sri Lanka is facing one of the worst economic financial crisis in decades, and the root lies in mismanagement of government finances, ill-timed tax cuts, and even COVID-19 pandemic inflation has added more woes to it. So this is like a hypothetical question. Do you think if blockchain technology was there back in 2000, like the internet, would it have helped to weather its crisis?
See what is happening.
Or maybe in
Uh,
future it will help?
yeah.
Huh.
See, it won't help governments and central banks, right? What is
Okay.
happening is people are realizing that they can't rely on a centralized system. And if you look at inflation, it is not only Sri Lanka, right? It is India, it's happening in the US, it's happening in Europe. Most economies got affected by uh, these factors like COVID and all of that, right?
Right.
What you're bringing out is corruption happens everywhere, right? So this is why more and more people are shifting their allegiance from a centralized thing like buying gold, right? I don't need to depend on my government. I will say shift my funds into crypto, which is available. I can send it to people without any restrictions, right? And what the governments are trying to do now is to introduce CDBCs, right? Now, CDBCs is their answer to cryptocurrency, and half of them are not
Right.
blockchain based, right? The digital yuan is not
Right.
fully blockchain, it is part.
Yeah. Yeah.
90% of the
Yeah.
countries are shifting into uh, or exploring CDBCs, right? But why is that
Huh.
happening? If
Okay.
you cannot control your funds in the normal way, in this centralized manner, how can you think that they will be successful in managing their currencies on technology, right? It is going to be far easier to
Right.
print money, right? Issue new coins. They can
Right.
ban people.
Yeah.
They can ban people from using it. They, like, let's say you do a crime or something like that. They can take all your assets with the if it is on CDBC. They can monitor all your payments, which they
Yeah.
can't do with cash. Now, if I come to
Yeah.
India and I give you 100 rupees, right?
Yeah.
That's not monitored. But whereas if it is
Right.
CDBC, they will know all these payments which are going, right? So this is I don't think it would have solved the problem. What is happening is, with these problems which are facing the world is facing, people are more and more turning into different assets. That's why if you look at the largest saving asset is land, right? 58% of investment assets are in land, right? And now, how difficult is it
Right.
for land to get transferred? Now, people are moving
Right.
into crypto because it's very easy, right? I can liquidate it immediately,
Right.
right?
Right.
It's like what happened to NFTs over the last 2 years, right? It grew
Right.
exponentially because I can create my own wealth, right? I can sell it, people will buy it. And there are, of course, rug pulls. There are rug pulls in banking systems, right? Banks have gone down. People have
Right.
lost money, right? So in the
Yes.
financial world, these things happen, right? But in crypto,
Right.
what's happening is, it is with the evolution of all of these new technologies, Like if you look at Google, came into the play much later to become one of the leading
Yeah,
powers
monopoly
in the
almost.
internet, right? Facebook
Right.
wasn't the first. There was MySpace. There were
Yeah.
so many other things, right? But Facebook
Yes.
became because of the solution. So Bitcoin, I feel, will be an in-store value. People will always keep it as their goal, right? But there would be other coins. Look at uh, the Pi network, right, where you mine on your mobile phone, right? There's an article on my blog bitcoins.lk about the Pi network, right? People are mining it on their mobile phone, and that is completely decentralized because you can't have miners like commercial mining, which is happening in Bitcoin, right? It's individual. One person can have only one address, and you can mine from there, right? So new
Right.
technologies will evolve, and that is where we'll
Right.
see the change, right? And now if you look
Yes.
at uh, e-commerce, right?
Right.
E-commerce and also traditional, if you look at a credit card, right? Credit cards charge you 2.5% commission,
Right.
right? If you look at a company like Walmart or Amazon, right? Their profit is just 1.2%, right? Just by shifting to crypto, because the crypto transaction fees in an exchange is 0.25%, right? They're going to
Right.
immediately put in 2.2% into their bottom line, right? So
Right.
this is what the world is going through. And then that's why if you look at MasterCard, Visa, they are also scrambling to get into this whole thing. They're enabling crypto uh, uh, products in their portfolios, right? Crypto debit cards and all of that, because they know it's coming, right? And so that's going to be the
Right.
paradigm shift. It is based on usage.
Right. That's a really wonderful session today we have. Actually, I would like to listen to you regarding this blockchain space. I feel it should go on and on and on because lot of insights I have got today.
Yeah.
Thank you for your precious time, giving precious time for Blocktical session. And it is my request to viewers that if you like the session, please like, share, and uh, post it wherever you want to. So that is for viewers. And Sanjay, thank you for your precious time today for a Blocktical session.
Thank you, Sharvi. It was my pleasure. As I said, anytime reach out to me. I think you can put my LinkedIn link on the video, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Please feel
yeah, yeah.
free to
I will
connect,
share that.
right? And I'll
Yeah,
be more than happy to help you out in any future projects as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
Thanks a
Actually,
lot.
I was amazed when you accepted my invitation immediately. I thought you
Hey,
might be busy. I don't know
that's
whether
why
you will accept it.
I chose Sunday, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
nice session actually. If you come to India, actually, I live in Pune, so
yeah. I've
we have
actually been to
interaction
Pune.
earlier.
Yeah, I've
Yeah,
been to Pune as
if
well.
you
And
come back again, then we will surely meet.
yeah, let's have a Bitcoin meetup in crypto meetup in India.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
yes, of course.
All
Okay
right.
then.